Good evening, Internet. You're watching the NonPro TV Party, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter recap show. I'm your host, Frank, joined not at all in studio by AJ, James, and Matt. On NonPro's TV Party, we do a live Google Plus Hangout series where we geek out about our favorite television shows and invite you all to join along. We're not just recapping TV, we are in love with it. This episode, we're talking about Agent Carter, of course, the mid-season series, mini-series? Yeah, sure, mini-series. Specifically, the third episode in Time and Tide. Jarvis is taken into custody as we uncover what became of Stark's wonderful toys. All right, so, gentlemen, what did you think of this episode?
It's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't as powerful as the first two that aired in the premiere, in my opinion. But overall, it was a good episode.
I don't want to say like I disliked the episode. Like I don't have anything particularly like, well, that was bad or poorly done, per se. I don't know. I think it was bad in the sense that it was just so not strong. I don't know.
I don't think it was bad at all. My opinion, it wasn't bad. It was just wasn't as great as the other two. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It was an okay. There was actually a lot of good in this episode as well. So I'm actually kind of excited that I'm not super head over heels with every single episode, each one better than the last, until I just descend into an orgasmic wave of Agent Carter is wonderful. Too much information?
That gave me a very unhappy visualization there, Frank.
Yeah, I don't.
Good to know. Matt, what do you think?
I'm going to kind of go against the grain here. I'm going to say it was really good. Obviously, I'm going to agree it wasn't as fast-paced or like in-your-face as the first two. But I feel like there was a lot of cool stuff that happened, a lot of, like we seen in S.H.I.E.L.D., lots of setting up for either stuff going to either see farther down the miniseries or further along with the universe, the Agent Carter universe.
Yeah, I think I think that's fair to say. And let's quickly go over the bullets of the episode. The major things that happen are Jarvis gets held by. I keep forgetting that they're not cops because they feel so much like cops.
Yeah, they're SSR.
Yeah, they're SSR. They're Jarvis gets held and interrogated and possibly threatened with deportation. Well, actually threatened with deportation.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Jarvis and Peggy tag team. Let's find out how they got into the vault. And I think there's also the other big bullet of this episode is how the officers, the agents in SSR, we all have seen it. They lose one of their own. So which one do you guys want to start talking about first?
I might as well start with the beginning.
Yeah,
with
the interrogation.
Capture and interrogation of Jarvis.
Right. All I have to say about it is that I like the way Agent Carter is just... Like, it's obvious that the interrogations are wrong. Like, they're just a little shady, and it's sort of accepted that that's the way you do. Yeah, you beat people with phone books. That's how you do interrogations. But it's not like 24 where it's like we beat people with phone books and get amazing information. It's more like, wow, isn't it terrible in the 40s where people got beaten by phone books? I don't think we actually seen a phone book yet in the episode, but you know what I mean.
No,
we know what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's my only thing about it. I love that I love that aspect of the show.
Yeah, they do mention that he hasn't bloodied his knuckles yet, and he's already 5 minutes into the interrogation.
Right.
There's a remarkable record he's setting there. But it was interesting. Maybe part of it seemed a little lackluster because Jarvis doesn't react a lot. You can see him you can see him somewhat react a little bit at certain parts, like they dredge up his past, bring up treason and a dishonorable discharge, which things we didn't know about earlier. I certainly didn't know about earlier. And we see him start to feel vulnerable at that point. And when they bring up the deportation, we see him get really... He gets really... I'm not sure what words I'm allowed to say here, but he gets really miffed.
Miffed. I like that. That's a good word.
Miffed is a good word.
It's a very British thing.
Sorry.
What do you guys think? James, Matt?
I'm just, I see all of those story beats playing out. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I think one of my problems I have is actually a carryover from the other episodes, which I think is just a little inconsistent of the show. Now, admittedly, I'm talking about show's inconsistency on episode 3, so it's got plenty of time to win me over. But I feel
It's
like
3 out of 5, isn't it?
it's 3 out of 8. So
Oh, okay.
So not even halfway.
not even halfway. But I feel like in our first 2 episodes, the SSR agents are really, their pitch is really incompetent. Not like incompetent, like they're probably like normal by like, like normal standards for like SSR agents in that universe. But they're pitched as like, I feel like to us they feel really incompetent compared to say like our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. people or Carter or a couple of the other people that we know exist in this Marvel universe, right? They seem really just incompetent, at least to me.
You've said that word a lot. Do you mean that? What do you mean? What way were they incompetent?
They don't, like, they're it's not even incompetent. It's the last 2 episodes, most of their stuff was played for comedy, right? So one of the things I think is Carter's on top of doing an awesome fight scene on top of a milk truck, and then they switch to them leisurely driving, radio, going to get a guy. Oh, they find a guy. Oh, look, he's handed them on a silver platter, tied to a chair. They put him in the back of their car. Don't bother talking to him. They're like, we got this guy. So easy. They're played for. They feel to me like in the first 2 episodes they were played for comedy. They were played a lot for comedic timing. Okay. And this episode, it's important that they're not, for a lot of obvious reasons. One, I need to believe that they're able to really intimidate Jarvis, into that situation. I need to believe that this guy who was like brutally beating the crap out of somebody 2 episodes ago for like no reason because he didn't bother interrogating anybody, all of a sudden would, just because he's a butler, decide to not beat his face in. It feels inconsistent. It feels inconsistent, and to me, it was less believable.
That's interesting. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's my problem. I'm not saying like the story beats weren't there. Like, if this had been like standalone, it would have been great. But because, even later on in the episode where they find they get the call and they go get the tip and the other agent, the one agent ends up dying at the end of the episode. I feel like a lot of that, not his death, but a lot of the stuff that gets them there is just like, well, why wouldn't you think that was suspicious? It doesn't make sense. A lot of the things seem really inconsistent. I feel like the agent characters on the show that are not Carter feel inconsistent.
All right.
Because they're being used in a couple of different capacities. They're either being played for comedy, they're being, played for helping us establish the time period, or they're being played as characters.
Matt, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with James here. I mean, I'm far from like incompetent. The SSR agents. I mean, we have to keep in mind that Carter has a lot of inside information that the SSR doesn't know, that she's actively hiding from them, and yet they're still hitting pretty close to what Carter finds maybe just a couple steps ahead of them, but the fact that they're only a couple steps behind is kind of shows how pretty good they are. And they're also they found the license plate. They found the beginning. They found all the info about the mysterious assassin, like the whole entire beginning where they were finding out about the history of like how his name was taken from a wiped out Russian unit, and how that was a kind of a big clue. But yeah, I do agree that they're here to set the time period, and there are some like comedy things, especially with Krasinski, which makes his death, I found actually kind of more interesting, how the dramatic death is pinned on the guy that everybody kind of
the comic relief
like stepped on or made fun of, which kind of like makes the whole entire scene in the end puts things into a very interesting kind of light. But as for the interrogation scene, like obviously, like you find more about Jarvis's history. But I think you see probably I would say one of the most important scenes that we've seen so far in this series is seeing how far Peggy is willing to go to sacrifice for the people that she cares about. I mean, like when she quote unquote screwed up the paperwork, that was huge. It was the proverbial Steve Rogers jumping on the grenade back in basic training. Just the fact that she threw herself under the bus to kind of save her friend's life and also to save this investigation.
That's a good point.
And also the fact, I think I saw interesting now, we now have an in for the Agent Carter short. How did Agent Carter stay, was at the bottom of the SSR if the short takes place after the series? I think this thing is going to keep on her even after this miniseries is done.
That's interesting. I'm going to side kind of, I do have my issues with the interrogation scene a little bit and the intentional botch that happens, but I think, I think it really was that it was it was a big gamble on Peggy's part that they weren't going to look at that and be like, that's really suspicious that you just happened to hand in the files. But if she's jumping on the grenade, then that's fine. It's suspicious she took a major gamble. But I will say that my notes, so after the show's over, I tend to watch it live, and then I post on Google+. If you, I guess, comment on this video, we'll add you to the circle. And one of the first things I say is that I like the way that the SSR agents are competent. And I actually, to each their own, but my reading of it, that they are actually showing their competence, especially in this episode. So specifically, I think a thing that this show does and lots of television does is to play with tropes and stereotypes. For the most part, these guys are the bumbling, not real heroes. That's their role. That's probably not on TV tropes, but it's basic. The basic concept is they're the people who are behind the scene, or actually in front of the scenes. They're supposed to be the heroes. They're supposed to be the people in charge. But we know that they're not really competent. They're not really doing the job. The real person is the star of our show, Jane or John Doe. And they're played obviously to build up the time period. They're just constantly being sexist or what have you. I feel like that was a lot of the first two episodes, and I think what a lot of good television does is it plays with those stereotypes. And in this episode, and again, it's fine that James doesn't agree with this, it really does, it's a personal thing about whether they hit their marks or not. But in this episode, for me at least, I felt like, holy crap, these guys are ruthless and dangerous. They might figure out what's going on, and Peggy's in danger because of this. We know she's not guilty of anything horrible, but they are, through the course of this episode, are investigating this crime, and they're figuring things out, and that was unusual to me. I thought they were going to be bumbling idiots the whole time. I didn't think they were ever going to really figure anything out. But at least in my opinion, they did, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I think they did a good job with that.
I think.
I thought it was very important to establish that they actually have some investigative powers. Otherwise, they're not a threat. They need to be a threat to give what Agent Peggy Carter does any merit. Because if she's dancing around fools the entire time, we lose interest. And I think it's important to show that they actually do pay attention to things and they actually have contacts and a reason for having this job, which otherwise would also be somewhat hard to follow.
Yeah,
they're
otherwise
working in this agency
Inspector
and they got
Gadget.
this somehow. Yeah, it's Inspector Gadget.
With Penny in the background. Oh my God. James, you were saying something?
No, I want to pull my incompetent comment. I don't think, as I was describing it, it's not incompetence that I was thinking. It's inconsistent in the way the characters are being used. I think I feel that the characters are kind of having the difficulty of having to juggle kind of three positions in the show. The comic being comedic, a bit comedic relief, being part of the background as the scenery, and then I think as their own individual characters. I think what I feel is that the character part is coming last, and I would much rather it to be bumped up. But there are more episodes in which that could happen.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think as I'm hearing you guys describe it, and as I was talking before, I think it wasn't incompetence. I think they have a lot of stuff they're balancing with those characters, and I just think that's what's bothering.
Right.
But I did like the falling on the sword thing. I liked the thing Peggy did at the end. I'm with Matt. I think that is probably, as Matt said, one of the most important like character moments there in the entire episode. Because I mean, it's just so easy that, you know, like that could be it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just messing it all up for herself, even though this is obviously what she wants to do.
I feel like this segues really well into something we're going to talk about a little later. But what people have been saying already, or some people, of course, is that this show is actually a little better than, or better paced than, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's a very specific way. And it's the reason why I think I want to segue into it right away is because the idea is that with a limited cast of characters in Agent Carter, I'm already interested in their relationships. I'm interested in Jarvis's so far unseen wife and his relationship with her. I'm interested in Peggy and whether or not she could keep her position a secret and still be relevant. I'm even interested in the interplay of the officers, including the one we lost in this episode, and what I believe is a potentially romantic relationship between the chief and that lead handsome heartthrob investigator. I just shipped them. Anyways, but yeah, no. Yeah, so like basically these characters, they've done a good job of having you sort of interested in where their arc is going in like 3 episodes. And then I do care about the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I don't really care too much about Hunter and Bobby. I don't really care too much about a lot of the new characters added
I like
this
Hunter.
season. I'm not sure what really happened to May this season that is really that important to me. It made me rethink things, and I feel uncomfortable with these feelings. What do you guys think?
Somebody else want to go?
I think the first thing I want to see is that, well, Agent Carter doesn't have to have like worry about dedicating half its first season to setting, like waiting for the lead-in to the main plot, the main storyline. And also, I think also like with Agent Carter, these characters after this miniseries, Carter might be coming back. Well, actually, she'll probably definitely come back in some form or the other. But these other agents, other characters, who knows if they're going to come back? So they have to like present them and wrap things up within these eight episodes, which is why the pace it's going at. While with S.H.I.E.L.D., ostensibly it's going to be a running television series that's going to move past like season 2. So I think that's why like there hasn't been as much as development with the S.H.I.E.L.D. characters as they have been with the Agent Carter characters.
I think.
Also, I'm sorry.
Do you want to go?
I feel like they were allowed to just get right into the plot, considering Howard Stark was already an established character, Carter was already an established character. We all pretty much knew who Jarvis was. Not so much. I mean, people who only know the cinematic universe was like, "Oh, Jarvis," but everyone else was like, "Oh yeah, Jarvis."
Yeah, but I don't think
I'm glad he exists now. I mean, they didn't have to spend as much time introducing everyone and their motivations as they did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because there were just so many people. It's just a huge cast to deal with. I felt like that'd be part of the reason why the flow is a lot better in this, that they didn't have to spend those episodes dedicated to just introducing who these characters were.
I think we should go with, I'm guessing, James? Tell me in the comments, am I pointing in the right direction? Who knows?
Yes.
Like that.
So I think I think it's way too early to tell, particularly because this is a limited series. What makes or breaks a show is sustainability. And I don't think most of these characters have it. Like, I feel bad, but Agent Carter, while I'm enjoying it, is a very simple show. It has, I'm going to say, 3 main characters with some sort of complex backstory, right? You know, I'm not counting Howard Stark, right? Because he's been in 5 minutes of one episode, you know? So that's not a lot to balance.
All right, I'm going to give my counter.
So I think that's not bad, but When you, I know you want to counter. Just go.
You guys are such weasels. All right, now here's the thing. None of what you guys are saying, everything you say is accurate and true, but none of those are like defenses. Saying like, hey, hold on a minute. They've got seasons worth of potential to drag this out through. I mean, I'm giving credit where it's good, where it's due. Agent Carter had only a few episodes. They only ever will have a few episodes in theory, and they've made good use of it. And they've made me more interested in a small group of characters. To say that, well, there's so many characters in the other show, well, that might be a problem for the other show. To say that like this show doesn't know how long it needs to like drag out these storylines. I'm like, all right, well then don't complain when people think the storylines drag out too long. And to say that there are more already established characters in Carter than there were in S.H.I.E.L.D., I don't think that's really true. I mean, we had Carter, and we have Coulson, and Stark, I guess, but we also had, I almost did this, Fury. You know, it's about the same. I'm saying those are decisions that the creators made for good, valid reasons. I will not say that Agent Carter and its writing staff, for all I know, maybe the same group of people. I don't really know, actually. They did a good job with what they had, and you know, I actually care more about the characters who I don't actually know their names. Chief and maybe Johnston, maybe Jackson.
I know the chief's name is Dooley. I don't know the head agent's name.
Hold on, I have a bookmark. You could keep talking, but yeah, that's my argument. Obviously, your opinions may vary, and there's nothing. It's still absolutely justified.
I feel like I fall so very much on the exact opposite side of that. Beyond Peggy and Jarvis, I really couldn't care less about any other character in this show as compared to, I was pretty interested in the like original cast of 5 characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, even in what people thought, even I thought wasn't the best opening couple of episodes. But yeah, I don't know. Despite the fact that I think you're right. I think these episodes are better paced, but I actually think the characters are lacking on Carter.
Well, luckily you don't have to fight for one or the other. You could have your cake and eat it too.
Hooray!
I think we should move on. We don't have much time left. Let's quickly talk about our favorite things about the episode, and if you want to bring in something we haven't talked about, like the prison, not the prison, the cell, the vault breakout thing, go ahead.
One thing I really liked that I kind of showed sprinkled throughout the episode was kind of Peggy dealing with her life outside of the SSR, trying to balance her civilian life and her agent life. We saw
Angie?
at the beginning the interesting issues behind her new boarding house at the beginning, and how while it's a nice new place for her, like the landlady there is kind of nuts and apparently extremely paranoid, and able to spy on all her girls. But also we got to see some kind of conflict between her and her best friend. I forget her name. Angie. That's right. And
I love Angie. The reason why I know the character's name off the top. There's something about I think her name is Lindsay Fonseca. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Right. Yes.
Excellent.
I kind of like how the work life was for Peggy was also kind of eating at her very, admittedly, kind of limited social life, and how it was kind of taking its toll on her. And I'm going to throw this out here that this new Iowa girl, totally a spy.
Oh my God, that's my
Totally
thing.
watching.
That's my episode thing. Who is the new girl?
The new girl is your
know.
favorite, your thing that you're most excited for? Cool.
Yes, they spent way too much time on her. That minute and a half that they let that camera linger, way too important.
Oh, yeah.
Thing.
A friend of the network, Vivian Cleary, I believe, called her out beforehand. Like, oh, this actress is on this episode, so I'm so excited. And I'm like, oh, she's a thing.
Yeah. She takes too much of the budget for her to be not anyone.
Although Lucy Lawless.
Yeah.
We don't know. Maybe zombie Lucy Lawless. We have no idea. AJ, what is your thing?
Well, I get the feeling. Did anyone else get the feeling that the hitman at the end of the episode was a chick?
You know, someone mentioned that the killer was wearing heels. I need to watch it again.
Oh,
But
I
Didn't
noticed.
notice.
I thought the hat had was a bit more angled, kind of like
Carmen
Carter's hat.
Sandiego?
It's a smaller angled fedora, and I thought it had some sort of shiny on it, which would be out of place for a hitman. But the clothes seem a bit ill-fitting, and by the silhouette, and the posture, I thought maybe a chick. And it needs to see spy versus spy, chick versus chick. Allow me to be.
All right,
I should
that's
have
enough from AJ.
Yeah, we're done here.
My
Come
favorite thing
on.
was. Oh, so you're still talking, aren't you?
Until
Good.
you forcibly make me stop.
No, you could finish up your point.
Oh, but yeah. And I also like the series of hot nods to the time period in which the show is set, without feeling too shoehorned in. Yeah, I don't have trouble seeing this in its proper time period. I think it's well done.
Very cool. My favorite thing, I think, beyond Angie and all her little turns of phrase, which were just amazing. I actually really did enjoy the way they dealt with losing one of the. Enjoy is a strong word. Losing one of their own.
Oh,
I
jeez.
thought it was really it elevated the show and the discourse of the show, because it wasn't just sort of like this thing. Again, he was like this comic relief character, and it seemed upsetting at very least that he died, and ominous on what these officers of the law are going to do now that they've lost one of their own. I thought that was really impressive. Yeah, I also have a fan theory that I posted again on Google Plus in the pre-show comments. I don't know if you guys would let me indulge in this just so it doesn't end on a dark note.
Go for it.
Go for it.
I'm thinking that some of the stuff that's in Stark's vault that got released, I think some of it's going to be, and we might see this next episode, will be like the components of a gamma bomb. So in the
And you
comics,
said this wasn't a Dark Note?
this is fun as hell. Because in the comic continuity, they're toying more and more with the idea, and certainly in the cinematic universe, they've already said it, that basically Dr. Banner was working on something to do with the super soldier serum, or is like tangential. Not quite ultimates, but related. Like it's kind of like all these accidents are in the same place. And if so, that would be great for me. I would just love to see some sort of Hulk. We've already had some Hulk Rogues Gallery activity in Ages of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'd like to see some in Carter. Why not? I want to see what they play with, like, period villain.
Now, I'm going to pick your brain real quick. They made a comment, and I couldn't figure out what the reference was, that a death ray of some sort had been stolen from the vault but turned up in Nevada?
Oh, I actually
That
don't.
was a backhanded comment, and I didn't see where that fit in.
You know what? Honestly,
the,
off the top of my head,
universe.
I don't know either. I really don't. Matt,
Another one offline is how Jarvis says that I think he was arrested in the middle of Whitehall.
Oh, yeah,
I heard that.
was. I didn't.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that was nothing, but come on, I feel like it's nothing, but it can't be nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's an area, and he really it's a business of some sort. I think, and so it is somewhat legitimate that it doesn't mean anything. It's not directly tied into the white hole we know. It probably isn't. It's he's referring to the business. I think I'm not exactly sure, or the restaurant or something. I don't really know. I just from context I figured it out. But yeah, it's definitely a bird. It's like, damn it! Stop teasing with us. Yeah, I like it. All right. So.
That's a road. I think it's a road in the middle of London.
Is it? Well, it might be lots of things.
In the city of
different things.
Westminster, in central London, it's a road.
That makes sense.
So we're wrapping up another episode. I can't wait for the next one. I mean, I can, I guess. I'm not going to go crazy.
Well, you don't have to wait too long.
Yeah, Tuesday, right?
Yep.
Well, actually, no. State of the
No.
Union. So they're skipping a week. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Thanks, Obama.
We're fine. Thanks, Obama.
This is like the first time we can blame Obama for something.
Like legitimate.
Obama doesn't even know
actually
if it's
be
real or wrong
somewhat
anymore. He's like, I
tangential.
don't even know if you're being joking. I
I
don't
think
know.
we should go.
All right. Well, if you're jonesing for more Jessica Jones. No, it's not out yet.
Oh, God.
If you are jonesing for more of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, or Agent Carter, just subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/nonproductive. Thank you all for joining us, and goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.